Alright, so I wanted to take the time here to explain something about the statue storage, right? Because I see it popping up in the chat. I'm right now upgrading my statue storage to level 2. There's two types of people that I generally found since this update, or the sneak peeks that I keep seeing coming back. You see, the statue storage I think has great value, but I feel some people in the chat are like, well, the statue storage, it doesn't really seem like it's worth a whole lot, or the statue storage is either useless, or they wanted it to be so that way you can store the existing statues that you currently have. So for instance, if I were to be storing my gunboat or maybe my defensive statue, I wish I had the ability to store that inside of the statue storage, right? I mean, I've seen some people say and talk about that. If that were to be the case, that you had the ability to store your defensive statues in here, that would be a disaster. Because what would happen is everybody in the top rankings would log into the game and have all defensive statues, and they would swap all of their defensive statues inside of the statue storage, bring all of their offensive statues out, start attacking bases, and the moment they're done with that, they would log off from the game and they would place all of their defensive statues on the map. They would abuse that to the point where everybody in the top leaderboard simply probably doesn't even really care for attacking anymore, and we would all be turtling, and the game, the whole aspect of attacking becomes pretty much non-existent, and it would be true that only the most skillful players in the game would honestly be winning and getting the most amount of medals, but it would not be any fun whatsoever. So essentially it would be abuse, and events like Dr. T, events like Colonel Gerhard, and probably the Mega Crab too, wouldn't be that exciting. Well, maybe the Mega Crab, but the rest would not be exciting. So everybody essentially would be abusing this. Now, there's also a group of people, and that argument is kind of like shoved out of the way because of that. Now, there's another group of people which said, like, I don't really see the point of the statue at all ever. There's going to be a point, I'm just going to say this out bluntly, there's going to be one point that you wish that you had the statue storage, because maybe because you're finishing up a statue and you're like, oh my god, a 9% building damage, I wish I could save that one up. This is just hypothetical. Of course you don't want to save this one up because this one's terrible, but let's say this would have been a, let's say if this was a 33% building damage, and you're right now a completely offensive player, right? Right now at this point, imagine you're only having attack statues because you're simply only attacking, you just simply don't care about defense. There's going to be a moment inside of the game where you're saving up all of your power powder, where you want to make that push to the top leaderboards in Boom Beach, and then you'd wish you had those defensive statues. Or maybe there's going to be an update inside of the game, let's say in half a year from now, which would completely twist around the game to only benefit offensive players inside of Boom Beach. Then you'd wish that you have all of those offensive statues stored in here and not have any defensive statues on the base. Right now, if you are lucky, you're going to be finding some statues that you can use in the future, or not lucky. In long term, you will always find a statue that you can use, and you can store it in here. Right now, because of this update, I can finally start using up all of these shards that I got, all 348. That is about 70. I don't know, I don't even know the math right now. That is at least 50 crystals. That means I need to convert them 50 times. This is 50 hours. That's more than 2 days of just converting all of my shards into ice crystals. And then I need an additional 55 crystals to convert those into masterpieces, which takes at least 10 hours each. That means I'll be busy constantly about a week with just converting all of these crystals into masterpieces and into guardians. Right now I'm able to do that because of this update. Otherwise, it would take me a long time to change my game. Like, if there's an update, I just, bam, I want to be able to adapt to the situation immediately. And that's why the statue storage right now is great. It might not seem very significant right now, but trust me, there will once ever be a moment in which you're gonna be like, hey, that statue storage is pretty dope. That being said, that is my thoughts on the situation. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. People on Twitch, sorry, I just kind of felt this should have been a kind of a moment where I was like, hey, I should record this. So this is tip time. This is tip time reversal. That being said, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure if you guys like this video to boom, give it a thumbs up. And yes, I will talk about Power Powder in the next one. That being said, this has been Reverse for Boom Beach. I'm gonna be signing off. I'll see you guys back again in the next one.